Hi, my name is Judy Guillermo Newton, and I'm going to be giving my talk that I gave to the Remarkable Women's Annual Summit in Dublin, Ireland in March. And I'm going to be giving it today to a group of friends. And it's about women and how we find in our remarkability and how that's a difficult journey for some of us. The mission for the Remarkable Women Project, which is a 501(c), is to tell stories about remarkable women so that it inspires people to live courageously. So I'm hoping that what I talk about today helps women be courageous on how to find themselves and how to give themselves credit for things that they've accomplished and that they see. Well, in Ireland, there's about 150 people that came, mostly women, but men also. And there was such a great response to women who sort of got permission to come together and to celebrate. And there were a number of people who cried and a few people who told me that it just was so great to hear some of the things that I said about finding themselves and giving themselves permission to give themselves credit for the things they've done in their lives. It was great. I've always loved working for women, with women and for women, and so this is a great time for me to be able to share this. I'm a little nervous about doing this with friends. It's something about doing it anonymously, that's fine, but doing it with friends feels a little more nerve-wracking, but I am excited. So good morning. It's great to see all of you, and I'm so thrilled to be in Dublin. This is my first visit to Ireland, and when this summit is over, my husband and I are going to take to the road and see this beautiful country of yours, and I hope the weather is cooperative to us. I have to also take a step to acknowledge that I am really grateful for the opportunity to step away from the chaos in the United States right now. It's a relief and a joy to take a break from the news and the troubling decisions made by our leadership and to just go away and take a vacation. But moving on, as an American speaking to a room of primarily Irish and European women, I know I might have to win you over first. We Americans have a bit of a reputation. We're enthusiastic, we love a good pep talk, and let's just say we're a little direct. But I also know that no matter where we come from, as women we share something in common. We don't see ourselves often as remarkable. We brush off compliments, downplay our successes, and focus on what we haven't done rather than on what we have done. But today, I want to challenge this kind of thinking and encourage each of us to take a step back and truly recognize the power, resilience, and remarkability that already exists within each of us. Even the fact that we are here is truly remarkable. As you just heard from Jane, she and I have known each other a long time. I think we were 19 years old when we met. We were young, bright, and excited to see what the world was how we were going to make our marks on the world. At that time, things were different socially. It's hard for me to really believe this, but the term sexual harassment did not even exist as part of our vocabulary. And the concept and word feminism was just coming into its own. And now here we are, and Jane, I know you hate this, we are in our 70s at an International Women's Summit, a summit that you produced and that I'm the keynote speaker in, and wow, talk about remarkable. Of all the professional hats I've worn, my greatest passion has always been working with and supporting women. Perhaps that passion was sparked in my childhood. As the only daughter among 4 siblings, I learned early how to scrap and hold my own with my 3 brothers. Could I tell you stories about growing up in a primarily male household? My wonderful brothers, who today are among my biggest cheerleaders. My father was from the Philippines, and my mother was a first-generation Mexican Filipina. And both of them held fairly traditional values and views on how to raise sons and daughters. But luckily for me, and perhaps to their occasional dismay, I came into this world with a strong will and even a stronger voice. I was feisty, opinionated, and not afraid to challenge expectations. My poor parents, at times they had their hands full. But to their credit, they grew to see my side of things, my perspective. And they gave me the freedom to become independent, to stand firmly in who I was and embrace my strength, a foundation that became the start of my feminist journey. I credit my parents a lot for the woman I have become. And as I say that, I recognize for some of you that has not been your experience. For years, I've had the privilege of working with women in many different spaces, facilitating therapy groups, working with women collegiate athletic teams, leading women's retreats, and guiding executive leadership teams. I've also navigated the corporate world, serving on it as part of an executive team in the financial sector, where often I was one of few women in the room, and almost always the only woman of color. These experiences have given me a deep understanding of the challenges we women face, the strength we carry, and the resilience it takes to carve out spaces in environments that weren't always designed with us in mind. Later today, you will be meeting and hearing from some really remarkable women. It's going to be a really fun day. We are gathering not just to celebrate women, but we're also here to recognize and celebrate the extraordinary within each one of us. Too often, society equates remarkability with fame, wealth, or grand achievements. But I believe that true remarkability isn't about standing in the spotlight. It's about the quiet strength, resilience, and grace we carry through every chapter of our lives. From the moment we enter the world, we begin a journey filled with transformation. As daughters, we absorb wisdom. As sisters, we learn the power of support. As mothers, whether to children, causes, or dreams, we nurture the future. As sister friends with other women, we experience the power of community, vulnerability, laughter, and acceptance. As leaders, creators, and healers, we leave our mark in ways that history might not record, but that hearts will never forget. To quote your Mary Robinson, we are not here to be remarkable compared to others. We are here to be remarkable on our own way. So to get you in the spirit, there's a 3x5 card and a pen. I want each of you to take the next 3 minutes, pick up those cards that are here on your seats, and I want you to answer this question. Name a remarkable woman in your own personal history. And to you, what made that woman remarkable? So I want you to turn to a person next to you, behind you, move over, and share what you wrote and who you wrote. So remarkability is in the sacrifices made without recognition, in the battles fought in silence or in the shadows, and in the courage to rise after every fall. It is in the way we love, the way we build, and the way we stand, firm, unshaken, and unapologetically ourselves. Today, let's redefine what it means to be remarkable, not by the standards set by the world, but by the undeniable truth that each of us carries something unique within our souls, and you, just as you are remarkable. I think it's important to consider how remarkability can be found in the everyday. For instance, a mom balancing work and home, a friend who listens without judgment, a woman starting over after loss. Sadly, in my life right now, there's a number of friends who are losing their partners after long-time relationships and trying to figure out how to navigate the world again as a single person after being in long-term relationships. Or a woman taking care of her elderly parents. Most of the care for elderly parents is done by we women. And actually, much of life drudgery often falls to us women. My dearest friend in the world, Sharon, is one of those remarkable women who, in the quiet moments of everyday life, is making an extraordinary impact. She is the first to bring dinner to someone who is sick. She's busy knitting away on blankets and hats to send to communities experiencing a catastrophic loss. She's always near when someone is hurting, offering comfort. But she's just as quick to be there with her great smile and maybe balloons to celebrate a friend's success. Like so many of you, she is a fierce advocate for the disadvantaged and marginalized, fighting for those whose voices are too often unheard. But beyond the big causes, it's in the simple, consistent acts of kindness that Sharon has made the world a better place. She is remarkable, not because she seeks recognition, but because she leads with love, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to others and to her community. How many of you have ever thought, I'm not good enough? Or, who am I to think I can do this? See a lot of nods. The problem with these thoughts is that these voices aren't just whispers. These are the echoes of years of conditioning. Society has told us, be humble, don't be too bold, don't take up too much space. And over time, we start to believe it. We dismiss our successes, saying things to ourselves like, I'm just doing what has to be done, it's not a big deal. Or, I was just lucky. Or, anyone could have done it. Sadly, most of us women are good at negative self-talk. The challenge for women is society was not built to recognize or reward female success in the same way it does for men. We navigate competitive spaces designed with men's interests, strengths, and priorities in mind. But I want women to win. Not by competing to outdo men, but by stepping fully into our own potential, embracing ambition without apology, and claiming our place in the pursuit of excellence. We don't need permission to enter these waters. We belong in these waters. We belong in the race, not as outsiders, but as equal participants in the human effort to lead, to thrive, and to achieve. We women need to break the cycle of negative self-talk and self-doubt because these patterns hold us back from fully embracing our potential, taking up space, and recognizing our worth. We have been conditioned to be modest and to downplay our successes. The problem with this is that this leads to hesitation. Hesitation to ask for what we deserve, hesitation to speak up in meetings, hesitation to speak up in relations that are no longer good for us, or hesitation to take risks. We need to believe in our own power if we expect and want the world to believe in it. When a woman starts saying, I am worthy and I have something to offer, she begins to show up differently in relationships, in work, and in life. A woman can be remarkable all her life, but if she never sees it herself, she may never fully own it. The shift from self-doubt to self-belief is not about arrogance. It's about truth. Here's an interesting idea. What if we spoke to ourselves the way we speak to our closest friends? We wouldn't tell our friends that they aren't good enough. We wouldn't belittle their achievements. So the question is, why do we do it to ourselves? How often do you compliment your friends on something they've done or accomplished? Fairly often? A lot of nods. How often do you compliment yourself on a job well done? I'm betting not too often. We women must stop waiting for permission to recognize our own strength. What if every time that voice of doubt spoke up, we catch ourselves, take a breath, and we answer back? I'm not enough. I'm exactly who I need to be. I just got lucky. No, I worked hard for this. Anyone could have done this, but not everyone did. I did. I want to encourage you to rewrite your own inner dialogue. I want you to recognize your own remarkability, not just in big achievements, but in everyday resilience. You know, I've realized something about myself. I have a really hard time accepting compliments. It just makes me uncomfortable to be the center of attention like that. When someone recognizes or something I've done or says something kind, my instinct is to brush it off or downplay it or even worse, contradict it. But here's the thing, that's not a good habit. And I know, as hard as it is, I need to change that. I've been working on it, simply trying to say thank you and letting the compliment land without deflecting it or dismissing it. Because the truth is, we should be able to receive recognition with the same grace we give it to others. So I'm working on this, and if any of you are struggling with it too, just know you're not alone. The way we women have been conditioned, the way we women have been conditioned to think about ourselves is a system, and we have the power to change it. To quote author Brené Brown, courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen, because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. Vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Later today, you will have the pleasure of hearing from Nuala O'Connor. I just finished her book, Nora. Have any of you read that? If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's a brilliant and deeply moving story about the relationship between Nora Barnacle and James Joyce. Nora Barnacle was a remarkable woman, though she never fully recognized the extent of her own strength. She didn't allow herself to see that it was her resilience, her unwavering support, and her quiet courage that enabled James Joyce to become the literary giant he is today. She held that family together, kept a roof over their heads, and helped ensure that they survived their very hard lives. Without her, I wonder what might have become of James Joyce. I personally think we should be celebrating Nora Barnacle with the same gusto that the world celebrates James Joyce. Maybe even more. To me, Nora Barnacle embodies the truth in Eleanor Roosevelt's famous words. A woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. As I look around this room and see the diverse ages and experiences represented, I'm reminded that our understanding of remarkability shifts with each chapter of our lives. I again think of Mary Robinson and her words. She says, a woman's life is a circle of reinvention. We do not fade, we transform. Remarkability isn't a fixed trait. It grows, transforms, and takes new shape, as we do. Different life stages call for different strengths. And with each chapter of our lives, our definition of remarkability evolves. What makes a woman remarkable at 20 is not the same as what makes her remarkable at 50 or at 70. In our 20s and early 30s, when we take our first steps into independence and adulthood, remarkability often means ambition, courage, and discovery. It is the willingness to chase dreams, to break barriers, to embrace the unknown. It's found in the woman who moves to a new city with nothing but determination, or the one who pursues an education against all odds, or the woman who challenges expectations and forges her own path. As we move into midlife, our focus often shifts to careers, families, finances, and the countless responsibilities that come with them. Here, remarkability becomes about resilience. the ability to weather storms, to adapt, to reinvent ourselves when life didn't go as we thought it would. It's in the mom balancing work and home, the entrepreneur who starts over after failure, or the woman who finds the courage to walk away from that which no longer serves her. I watch my own daughters, who are now in their 40s, trying to navigate their lives, figuring out how to get their kids to all their activities, meet the demands of their very responsible jobs, and most of all, try and stay sane. On top of all of this, my youngest daughter, Alyssa, has been seriously affected by the recent fires in Los Angeles. Their house thankfully did not burn down, but the fire stopped about a block from them. And the smoke damage has been extensive, and they are still out of their homes some 2 months later. Made that much harder when you throw in 2 young children who just want to go home. I know she doesn't feel like it, but I need to remind her that keeping her head above water and moving forward is remarkable. In our later years, remarkability takes on a quieter yet deeper presence. It's found in wisdom, in mentorship, in the power of reflection. It's in the woman who shares her knowledge with the next generation, both professionally and personally, who pursues passions she never had time for before, who leaves a legacy not just in what she has accomplished, but in the lives she has touched. Remarkability is not a single moment or achievement. It's a lifelong journey. Every chapter brings a new way to be remarkable, and the beauty lies in recognizing it, embracing it, and owning the unique strength of every season we walk through. One of the unexpected gifts for me in preparing this speech has been the chance to pause and reflect on my own life, where I am right now, and what my everyday remarkable moments look like. It's so easy to overlook them, to dismiss them as ordinary, and to not give them the weight and meaning that they deserve. I love being semi-retired. It has given me something truly valuable: time. Time to be intentional about how I show up. For my 4 amazing grandkids, who I love with all my being, for my 2 wonderful daughters, for my husband of 50 plus years, for the people I coach and consult for my extended family, and for my friends. Time to be present in ways I once rushed through. So I want you to take up those cards again, and I'd like you to reflect on where you are in your life journey. And today, what are some of your remarkable moments? I think for some of us, this was harder than the first question. But I want you to think for a minute and consider what gets in the way and prevents you from truly recognizing and celebrating these moments. What makes it hard for you to even state them or write them down on a card? For some of us, this was hard. And so writing down what our remarkable moments are in our lives every day. And then when I asked you to think about what stops you from recognizing and celebrating those remarkable moments, what were the kinds of thoughts that came up for you? As I was preparing for this talk, I spoke with a dear friend, an Episcopalian priest, about the idea of remarkability. She shared something profound with me. She has been with hundreds of people as they pass from this life to whatever comes next. And in all those moments, she has learned one undeniable truth. At the end of our lives, nothing matters more than our human relationships. The way we have loved, the way we have shown up for others, the way we have made people feel. That is what remains. And I believe that is what is truly remarkable. So as I close today, I want to leave you with a call to action, a pledge, not to the world, but to ourselves. Let's commit to speaking to ourselves with more kindness, more grace, and more recognition of our own worth. Let's start seeing the remarkable in the everyday, in the small yet powerful moments that so often go unnoticed. Let's embrace the incredible strength that comes from the power of belonging and being in community with other women, lifting each other up rather than downplaying our own brilliance. And most importantly, remember this: you do not need to prove to the world you are remarkable. You already are.